A lot of things this case has stopped me from doing, traveling all across the world, making. So I just want to get it over with, and, you know, accept my guilty plea. I'm ready to get over it.
Anything you want to say to your fans?
Just say a prayer for them. I just need prayer. I don't need nothing else.
Well, Charleston White was celebrating you taking the plea deal. I think he even said he hopes you die in jail and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard.
The biggest thing right now was that you actually accepted a plea deal for your federal gun case.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been fighting this thing from the very, very beginning?
I've been fighting for probably 3 years now, probably.
3 years.
Boosie might be staring down a 10-year federal sentence in that gun case, and the internet is buzzing with drama. And who was the first to pop up laughing about it? Charleston White. The second Boosie's case hit the blogs, Charleston jumped on live grinning like it was his birthday. He was cracking up, saying he always knew Boosie would land behind bars, and even bragged that he'd been waiting for the moment just to clown him. He didn't even stop there. He went cold, saying he wouldn't care if Boosie never made it back home. Now here's the twist. Boosie had already told his fans earlier this month that he took a plea deal because he was sick of fighting in court. He claimed it was the smartest move, even though the case had actually been dismissed once before. But prosecutors came back swinging in 2024, hit him with fresh charges, and now he could be looking at over a decade locked up.
Where the feds picked it up?
Now, it was a state case. The feds came, picked it up. They had a ruling in the Supreme Court that went in my favor, and the case got dropped by the judge. The case got dropped.
While Boosie is out here posting emotional messages about trusting God and admitting he's drained, Charleston White is online literally celebrating like he hit the lottery. Champagne, jokes, the whole nine. It's like Charleston been waiting for this downfall. Boosie's legal mess has been dragging on for years, but this gun charge is the one that really locked his future in a chokehold. He was hit for being a felon in possession of a firearm, already a hard case to wiggle out of. At first, fans thought he was in the clear. Back in 2023, when the case got dismissed, everybody believed Boosie could finally focus on music and his family.
I wasn't gonna go to trial with it from the dump, actually, but I feel like this the right move for me. You know, I trust in God.
But the feds weren't letting go that easy. In 2024, they came right back with a fresh indictment on the same charge, basically saying, nice try, but we still got you. That's when Boosie finally broke and took the plea deal. He even jumped on X and admitted, I thought this case was over and I was gonna get on with my life. But God don't make mistakes and I'm tired of fighting. That post said everything. This wasn't just another court date, this was the wall he couldn't run past. Fans flooded his mentions with prayers and support, but you could feel the shift. This wasn't the same Boosie that used to troll non-stop or clap back at every critic. This was a man sounding worn out, leaning on faith but clearly bracing for the worst. People who've been following Boosie since his Baton Rouge come-up know he's been dodging drama his whole life. Cases, street beefs, even scary health battles. But this time, it feels way heavier. 10 years isn't some slap on the wrist. It's a whole chapter of life gone, and you could feel that weight in every word Boosie posted.
We going to jail! Oh, God! Oh, God is good. I keep telling y'all, street got no God. God do not look after street. Boosie really thought he wasn't going to jail for that cookie. I knew he was going. He going to jail. All that newborn baby. Boosie won't get to see that newborn baby till that baby be walking and talking. Boosie going to jail!
While fans were sending prayers and standing behind him, Charleston White was busy playing the villain. He jumped on live, grinning from ear to ear, acting like he called this moment years ago. Charleston flat out said he never believed Boosie would escape this one. And now that the sentence is hanging over him, Charleston is gleefully rubbing it in like salt on a wound. He even took it to an extreme, saying he hopes Boosie never makes it out of prison, which is shocking, even for Charleston. But then again, this is the same guy who's built his whole brand on being the loudest, most ruthless troll in hip-hop. The worst part, Charleston's timing made it sting extra hard. Boosie hadn't even had time to fully process his sentencing before Charleston was already turning his pain into a comedy show for clicks. Charleston White trolling people is nothing new, but when it comes to Boosie, it feels way more personal. Every single time Boosie runs into legal trouble, Charleston pops up instantly, almost like he's waiting by the phone for bad news. That's why folks keep asking, why does Charleston hate Boosie this much? This ain't just random internet trolling, this beef has roots. It traces back to late 2022 when Kanye West had everybody heated wearing that White Lives Matter shirt. Boosie stepped up and said he was disrespecting black people. And honestly, most people agreed with him.
He brought you up because you were attacking Kanye because of the...
Nah, this Kanye West shit just happened. Nigga been coming at me. He been coming at me, it's just, you know, I can't respond to those people, bro. Like, that's a danger to what I got going on. You can't take no risk of losing this shit behind, you know.
But Charleston? Nah, he flipped it. He jumped online blasting Boosie for even daring to check Kanye, and that's when everything spiraled. Instead of just clapping back at Boosie, Charleston went for the jugular. He dragged Boosie's son Tootie Raw into it and even threw shots at T.Y.'s son King Harris. He called them ugly, said they couldn't fight, and even predicted they'd end up behind bars one day. It was nasty, and that's when people realized Charleston wasn't your average troll. He was willing to go super low, targeting kids just to cut deep at their parents. What really shocked folks, though, was how calm Boosie stayed. Instead of snapping like everybody expected, he kept it cool. In an interview with Tony the Closer, he admitted that speaking too freely could land him back in jail, especially when someone drags kids into the mix. That restraint showed just how careful he was trying to be. Instead of snapping the way everyone expected, Boosie held back and kept his response cool. In that interview, he made it clear why he refused to go off, because he knew exactly what Charleston was doing. That one line told you everything. Boosie wasn't scared of Charleston at all, but he recognized Charleston as the type who'd bait him into saying something reckless that could land him right back in jail. So instead of feeding the trap, Boosie kept it measured, at least on the outside. But by early 2023, the tension was boiling over. Charleston was already trolling T.I. over that paperwork party when Boosie's son, Tootie, decided he had enough and clapped back. He called Charleston old, messy, and even told him to go die. Instead of brushing it off, Charleston, being Charleston, took things 10 steps further. He went live and said, "I hope your daddy died from that diabetes. I hope they don't send the insulin over 1 month." Who even says that? It was cruel and beyond disrespectful. Basically wishing death on Boosie just to get under Tootie's skin. And then when Tootie actually got arrested later that same month on gun charges, Charleston wasted no time hopping online to claim credit, bragging like he'd somehow called it. Charleston White straight up bragged about calling the police, sending in pictures, and tipping off the Department of Public Safety.
Them white folk Boosie, you done got too much. You done let these niggas play you too this internet dumb and say what little Tootie gonna do now? What look to say? Listen, Vlad TV. Vlad ain't for Vlad post everybody going to jail but Boosie. Somebody tag Vlad TV.
He even claimed the cops were already watching Tootie because Boosie was a 6-time convicted murderer who used kids to do his dirt. That right there was the moment the beef stopped being internet games and turned into real-life damage. Not even 3 months later, Boosie himself got arrested again in San Diego right after a court hearing, and Charleston wasted no time turning it into a show. He hopped on Instagram Live laughing, saying it was all part of God's plan, and even compared Boosie to Daniel in the lion's den, like prison was some test from above. Charleston twisted Boosie's arrest into a whole sermon, making it sound like divine punishment instead of a man's real struggle. Fans couldn't even tell if he was serious or just trolling for views, but either way, it came off wild disrespectful. Months later, Boosie finally broke his silence on Vlad TV. He admitted he didn't even want Vlad interviewing Charleston because of the things he said about Tootie. And once again, Boosie stressed he wasn't scared of him. He was just trying to stay free. He said it himself, quote, "Even though Boosie kept his cool on camera, you could tell Charleston was living rent-free in his head." By early 2024, their beef had spilled even deeper into internet culture. Aiden Ross was supposed to have Boosie on stream, but Boosie backed out. He didn't want to deal with Charleston's mess. Then suddenly, Aiden flipped the script and claimed he turned Boosie down out of loyalty to Charleston White. That lie blew up online until DJ Vlad jumped in and dragged Aiden for siding with a guy who had literally praised Hitler and denied the Holocaust. That whole fiasco showed just how long Charleston's shadow had grown. Even young streamers were using his name as clout currency. But Charleston wasn't finished. Later that March, he came back online with another rant, claiming Boosie had allegedly told promoters not to book him. He twisted that into a storyline, swearing he'd already contacted the feds and was ready to get Boosie locked up over what he called threats. And he didn't stop there. Charleston even dragged Boosie's health into it, making the insults hit below the belt. In one rant, he doubled down, swearing he'd get Boosie jammed up through the FBI like it was his personal mission. The level of obsession was unreal. Once again, Charleston had zero proof, but that didn't stop him. He said it loud enough, and that was all it took for the rumors to stick. Even Boosie admitted he's been getting calls from guys already locked up, asking when he was gonna join the team.
Put your in jail, waiting for the FBI to send me the right collar number, because I'm finna make a report on your mother and people. And you make the man call your name specifically. The promoter specifically said your mother name, Lil Boosie. He implemented you and implicated you. Finna go to jail, back to jail. You gonna be on your knees, but them knees gonna be bleeding again.
Imagine that. Already carrying the weight of a possible federal sentence, and you've got people inside clowning you before you even touch the yard. That's insult piled on top of injury, and Charleston knows exactly what he's doing. And here's another angle people been whispering about. Boosie didn't even want to risk a trial. He went straight for the plea deal. And honestly, can you blame him? Just imagine if by some wild twist, Charleston White had actually shown up in court. You already know he would have turned that courtroom into a circus, testifying, pointing fingers, and then sprinting to the blogs the second he walked out the door. And it's not even far-fetched because Charleston has a long history of snitching, and he's never been shy about it. According to reports, when he was just 14, he got caught up in a robbery with some other teens. During it, one of them, Antoine Doolittle, shot and killed a man named Michael Levy. When it came time for court, Charleston testified against him. In street culture, that's the ultimate betrayal, even though he was just a kid. And Charleston? He doesn't deny it. He defends it. His words, "I was young, I was in court. I told the truth." That's not snitching. That's survival. Here's the kicker. Recently, old footage from Charleston's juvenile case resurfaced, and the internet lit up all over again. People were calling him out as a total hypocrite, saying, "You can't preach street code one day and then brag about testifying the next." That clip spread like wildfire, and everybody's been using it to drag him. But Charleston? He doubled down, proudly saying he never lived by no street code and doesn't care who's mad about it, which is crazy. Because in the same breath, he'll still call other rappers rats, while openly admitting he snitched himself. The contradictions are wild. Stack all of that up, and suddenly Boosie's decision to skip trial and take the plea deal makes perfect sense. The last thing he wanted was to risk a courtroom where Charleston might magically pop up and steal the spotlight.
I'm not a street kid. I'm not a criminal. I'm a kid who was raised to tell the truth. When my mama come in and say, "Son, what happened?" "Mama, I didn't do that." I got to pay for a lawyer. I got two lawyers, Carl Mallory and Louis Stearns. Louis Stearns became Judge Stearns, Judge Louis Stearns. But nigga, I had two paid for lawyers. My mama is a well-to-do mama. I'm just playing, I ain't playing. I'm an adolescent going through an adolescent stage of rebelliousness. Ain't no street. Hell yeah, I'm gonna tell on you. I've been telling since I was a little bitty boy.
This is the same man who brags about calling the cops, setting people up, and flexing about testifying as a teenager. If Charleston had even the slightest shot to get involved, you already know he would have turned that courtroom into his personal stage, pointing fingers, cracking jokes to the jury, and then hopping on live right after saying, "I helped put Boosie away." And that's not a stretch. That's exactly how Charleston moves. That's why Charleston is celebrating so loud right now. To him, this isn't just Boosie catching another charge, it's karma. Proof that all his trolling, all his mocking, all his wild rants are finally hitting the mark. When you connect the dots, from the beef starting in 2022, to the shots at Tootie, to the arrests, the non-stop snitching stories, it feels like Charleston has been waiting, maybe even praying for this exact moment where Boosie is staring down 10 years. Right now, Boosie isn't locked up yet, but with this plea deal in play, the reality is he could be gone for a full decade. Meanwhile, Charleston is clowning like he already won, and the streets are split, half laughing, half waiting to see if the hammer really drops. But here's the part that stings. If Charleston's this loud while Boosie's still technically free, just imagine the circus he'll create if Boosie actually gets sentenced. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, share, and drop a comment. And I'll see you on the next one.